So, in this explainer, we're going to break down one of history's most fascinating heroes, Esther. We're not just retelling the story, we're diving deep into the anatomy of a leader. What were the specific virtues that built her character? The ones that let her act when the pressure was cranked up to 11. It all really boils down to a single life-altering choice. And this is it. The moment it all hangs in the balance. These are the words Esther says right when she decides to risk everything. I mean, you have to understand, approaching the king of Persia without being called, that was a death sentence. So this one sentence, it just perfectly captures the life or death situation she was in. Not just for her, but for her entire people. Talk about absolute resolve. So, you gotta ask, right? How does a person even get to a moment like that? What forges that kind of character? The kind that can make a choice like that? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. We're gonna rewind the tape and really dig into the foundational virtues that led up to this incredible act of bravery. So, long before the crisis, way before she was famous, Esther's character was built on two virtues that you might call, well, quiet ones: humility and obedience. But don't let that fool you. These were not passive traits at all. They were actually the strategic groundwork for the massive influence she was going to need down the road. Okay, so when Esther is brought to the palace, right, it's basically a contest to become the next queen. And there's this one tiny detail that reveals everything. The text says she required nothing. Think about that. While all the other women were probably asking for the best dresses, the flashiest jewels, she just trusted the advice she was given. That one little choice, it speaks volumes about who she was on the inside. And guess what? That humility had an immediate payoff. It did not go unnoticed. Her restraint, her grace, it made her stand out from the crowd. It showed an inner character that was way more compelling than just looking good. And that is exactly how she started gaining favor and influence with everyone in the court. All right, the second foundational virtue is obedience. And, this word gets a bad rap sometimes, right? We can think of it as being weak or passive, but for Esther, it was totally different. It was a kind of strategic wisdom. See, she was placing her trust in the proven advice of her guardian, Mordecai, the man who raised her and always had her back. And this quote right here, it shows you how consistent she was. I mean, even after she becomes queen, a position of unbelievable power, she still listened to Mordecai's advice. This wasn't blind obedience, not at all. It was loyalty. It was smart. And that trust, along with the position it helped her get, became the exact platform she would need to save her people. Okay, so she's got a foundation of favor. She's in a secure position. Esther is ready for the test that's coming. And this is where things shift. Those quiet virtues we talked about, they pave the way for the active one she's about to unleash when this massive threat appears: strategic wisdom and incredible courage. So, bam, a decree is issued to wipe out her entire people. And what does Esther do? She doesn't panic. No, she comes up with this absolutely masterful plan. First, she gets everyone on the same page by calling for a fast. That builds unity, right? Then, and this is brilliant, instead of just rushing in, she hosts not one but two private banquets for the king and her enemy, Haman. This patiently builds the suspense, it totally inflates Haman's ego, and it creates the perfect, dramatic stage for her to finally expose him and make her case. I mean, that's tactical genius right there. And that's the key takeaway here. Her wisdom literally set the stage. She orchestrated the timing, the location, the whole psychological vibe of the main players. She put every single chess piece exactly where it needed to be, so her big reveal would have the maximum possible impact. But even the most brilliant strategy is just that, a strategy. It's just an idea until someone has the guts to actually do it. Wisdom can draw you the perfect map, but it takes real courage to take that first step into enemy territory. And Esther's next step, well, it was the most dangerous one imaginable. And so we come back to this incredible line, but now we see it totally differently, don't we? This isn't just some blind leap of faith, it's a calculated risk. It's a risk that's built on a foundation of favor and guided by a brilliant strategy. It's the absolute peak, the moment where all of her virtues, humility, obedience, wisdom, all come together in one decisive, courageous act. All right, let's pull it all together. What makes Esther such a timeless character? It's that her virtues weren't just a random collection of good traits. Nope, they were an interconnected system. Each one built on the last, strengthening the others to create this fully formed leader who was completely ready when her moment arrived.
You can almost see it like a formula. right? Her humility, that unlocked favor and influence. Her obedience, that secured her position and built trust. Her wisdom, that made sure her timing and impact were perfect. And finally, her courage, that's what turned all that potential into real, world-changing action. Each virtue was literally the key to the next door on her journey.
So it leaves us with this big question, doesn't it? When your character is on the line, which virtue leads the way? Is it the quiet humility that opens the first door? The wisdom that draws up the plan? Or the raw courage that takes that final, scary step? I think Esther's story suggests the answer isn't just one of them. It's the powerful combination of all of them. Because when character is truly tested, well, the sum of its parts is what really defines a hero.